All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Jake's the only one in chat so far. So, Jake, you are the only one I say hi to start. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a good weekend, my man. Jake, always appreciate you hanging out. Everyone else filing in, watching live, watching on playback. We appreciate you in advance as well. Usually Ham on Fridays. Ham is out enjoying, I think he said, a promotion at school for his daughter. I didn't know it's like the workforce was school. I didn't know they gave promotions. Whatever it is, a much well-deserved day off for the man. Ham, he took the show Wednesday. I'm ready to talk some baseball. Nades, I'm going to need your help on this slate, man. 13 games, a whole bunch of them. I think there's 10 pitchers in play, 15 pitchers maybe in play. Bats are tough too. It's going to be a spread-out slate in terms of ownership. We were talking a little pre-show. Whoever you like, I say you just play on this slate. A lot of slates, 7 games, 6 games, especially in MLB, all DFS sports. You worry about ownership, leverage, etc. Yeah, I think it's going to be relatively spread out for sure. Excited to talk some ball with you. How you doing today on this fine Friday afternoon?
Yeah, man, good to be back with my guy Title Crown here. Not having to do the hosting duties here, which I do enjoy, but it's nice to sit back, let Title run the ship here, and just talk baseball. Yeah, hitting on your points you made on the slate. Whoever you like, play them. I'm taking the approach today that I'm going to let other people overthink good offenses here and ownership. And it's for me, it's going to be mid-tier and spend down at pitcher and play the good offenses. I'm going to take my chances. I love the Dodgers here. I love some of these other high-priced offenses here. And I love when I can get good offenses under-owned for the potential for their ceiling. And that's what we have on tap here tonight. From an ownership standpoint, yeah, it's spread across from pitcher. I mean, some guys are going to get in the 20% range, but realistically, that doesn't matter. 80% of the field is going to fade those guys. So whoever you like, go with it and ride the wave is kind of how I'm approaching it here tonight. I like some good spots in terms of hitting conditions and weather. I mean, it's pretty sporadic. It's still early part of the season, so we're not getting into the July months where it's 100+ degrees in a couple spots across the country. So overall, I mean, park factors, things like that. I mean, I'm not really paying attention to it too much here tonight because it's pretty equal across the board from hitting conditions. That's why you see ownership spread out. That's why you see ownership spread out at pitchers. So yeah, should be an interesting slate here. I think there's a interesting way to break it down. I had the slate plan live for SHIPIT Nation subscribers already. I listed 5 pitchers. I could have listed probably 15 pitchers to your point. Try and obviously not list everyone. Try and make the Put the pitchers in the stacks that I feel most comfortable in. We'll talk through it there. So ready to dive in, man.
Yeah, I'm ready. Good breakdown again. Definitely check out that slate plan from Nades. Nades has been on fire. Have you been enjoying the NHL playoff, Nades? I haven't talked to you much about it. And if so, who do you got winning the cup?
Yeah, I mean, I got the Rangers winning, to be honest, but they look pretty flat right now. They've just been the best team all season long. I haven't played too much in terms of playoff hockey, in terms of DFS, just because the contests are absolutely horrendous when you got the Players' Championship going on. Obviously, you got MLB,
NBA, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, all the sports.
NHL. So, like, as much you wait all season long for the playoffs, right, the Stanley Cup chase, I'm more just a fan watching it here and there. To be honest, versus DFS. It's a lot of 2-game slates, things like that. And realistically, I'm just excited to watch that. But I've been really diving in and focusing on baseball and been crushing it so far this season, looking to keep it going. And I know a lot of people in the chat are probably like, baseball is super high variance. How do you win at this sport? I mean, at the end of the day, you just take your spots and, hey, if it doesn't work out, you got to realize that there's a lot of variance in this sport, much like NHL, much like a lot of these other DFS sports that we play. And you just got to take your winnings with your losses. And to your point, right, Title, you preach bankroll management 24/7. Everyone that gets on here on these tout shows says the same thing. But it is truly important, especially in a sport like MLB, right, where there's 162 regular games plus the playoffs. I mean, it's a long season. Every single day there's sports to play, there's spots. So overall, it's been good. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm like my favorite series has been the Edmonton series against Vancouver. That's been fun, physical, up and down. I've watched this decent amount. NBA playoffs have been so good. Excited for Game 6 tonight. Thoughts on weather in Atlanta? So yeah, I wanted to mention that before. Say hi to a couple more people. We talk pitching, a lot to talk about on this slate. But what I always say, always right up front, I go to Kevin Ross' weather report on Roto Grinders, and I pull it up, and he goes. I should say. He said, widespread power outages in Houston have left me with no internet. We'll find a solution by the afternoon, so we cannot do it right now. So I looked myself at every single game to try and do it myself, like what could possibly have weather problems. It does look like Atlanta really is the only one. Now, I don't have any thoughts besides I'll be refreshing the weather page for Roth to update this afternoon when he can.
I have a couple of thoughts. I just pulled up the hour by hour. There's under a 20% chance from 6 p.m. until about 10 p.m. and then at 11. So it looks like the radar shifted to later. Obviously, that could change. I'm not no meteorologist here. I obviously give that to other people that have more expertise there. But I did pull up the weather, and it looks like right now the game has under a 20% chance throughout the entire duration. So we should be good. It looks like that cell kind of shifted later in the day, and should be able to get the game in full because it does start at 7:20 Eastern. So, you got probably about 4 hours of cleanness there. So,
a man of many talents. Money you guys do not know. Nades can read some weather as well. Love to see that. Let's see if Nades can pick some winners today. Again, so my broad slate right of you, I'll talk about, I'm going to say hi to people first, but I'm going to be more condensed at bats and more spread out at pitcher today. That's what I think. I don't like many of these spots for bats. Nades mentioned it's like high 60s, low 70s at most points across the country. If I like a lot of pitchers, that means there's a lot of solid, viable, good pitchers on the mound, real life, DFS, etc., which means I just don't have interest in a lot of spots with bats. 13 games, the ownership will eat into each other. Just want to say that from the top. Plenty of pitchers. It's a lot harder for me to narrow down. Michael Peterson, Swatching What, Mark, Gator Nation, Michael Peterson, Richie Smalls, Jake again, Michael Mack. I already said hi to what? All you guys, appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate those comments. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. And if you want to join the nation, do have $24 a week package. No Discord though. No. So if you want to check out the content, it's a solid week to do the weekly PGA Showdown content, MMA this week, NASCAR this week, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB. However, Discord's so big of our content. The community's so awesome. If you want to get in the Discord, monthly, 6-month, or annual packages, head over to SHIPIT.com. Check it out. Projections, ownership, core reports, slate plan, and again, an awesome community with very knowledgeable members talking in there at most parts of the day. So head over if you want to join us. Weekly, monthly, 6-month, or annual options. Let's talk some pitcher big names. We're going to go 8K and above. And yeah, so we have Freddie and Scooball at 10-4 and 10K. But I don't think they're going to be, especially Freddie, I think he's going to be relatively low owned in a tough matchup against Houston. Scooball, I think, is going to get some ownership against Arizona. But I expect more people to say 600 with Cortez and 800 with Reagans, who have great matchups against the White Sox and Oakland, respectively. It is good hitting weather, like some of the best in KC. It's like 80 degrees. Not sure if that scares you off of Reagans or anything. A couple other pitchers I'll mention in this range. Kyle Harrison, always love picking on Colorado, like pitchers in San Fran, so I think he is interesting. And then I got, Max Fried if you think weather is fine, but I don't really love Max Fried's upside, relatively speaking, to some of those other guys I mentioned. So 8K Christian Scott, who maybe is a little interesting, to Freddie Peralta at 10-4, break down this top range.
Yeah, loaded top range. I'm going to start with I'm just going to work down from the top. Freddie Peralta, obviously, kind of a fantasy legend here now with the Brewers, right? Corbin Burns leaves town. Freddie Peralta steps up. Good to see there. Good to see our Brewers title with some young talent there, hitting the crap out of the baseball. It's going to be a fun team to watch. But tonight here at 10-4, most expensive pitcher on the slate, facing a team that just doesn't strike out, has a ton of power in Houston. I'm out on Freddie Peralta. I get it. He's going to be sub 5% owned if you want. He's got the ceiling we've seen all season long. it's just not a spot for me. Like I said, I like the cheaper and mid-tier pitcher options and spending up at bats. Like I'm with you there. I think there's a lot of pitchers you can play. And from bats, I'm a lot more condensed. So I definitely agree with you there. So for pitchers, for me, I mean, realistically, my favorite pitcher in this top tier is going to be Nestor Cortez against Chicago. I've been a huge Nestor guy. He's got nasty stuff. They call him Nasty Nestor for a reason. I love the Yankees bats. He should have run support behind him. He's not coming in at like 40, 50% owned, so I don't really got to worry about his ownership. I think he is going to be up there, but I think right there below him, Cole Reagans, obviously another great matchup in Oakland. In KC there, good hitting conditions. I'm a little scared on Reagans. This Oakland team, I've been playing this Oakland team quite a bit. They're pretty pesky. I mean, they got a lot of guys in there. They've actually been limiting their strikeouts over the last 30 days or so as well. They do have some power bats. It is still a great matchup. He should have run support. I do like the KC bats as well. So for me, it's Cortez over Reagans, but I think Reagans is a solid option. Skubal would be the third guy that I'd have interest in up at the top, just a pure upside play. I don't like picking on Arizona, but I don't mind that park there for pitchers. Skubal has been great. But overall, for me, up in this top tier, it's Cortez for me. And then I'm dropping down to Kyle Harrison as my SP2 in this range. I love Kyle Harrison, especially love him at home in San Fran facing this Rockies team outside of Coors Field. One of the best pitchers parks in all of baseball, and now gets one of the worst offenses in baseball to target in the Rockies. So I love Kyle Harrison, and he's coming in pretty low owned from what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm seeing sub 15% ownership on him right now. I do think that gets kind of squeezed a little bit, and he probably approaches 20-ish, something like that, but it's not enough to worry about it. So I do like Kyle Harrison quite a bit. And then I'm out on everyone else outside of Christian Scott. Christian Scott looked really good. I think he's going to be pretty low owned overall and gets this matchup against Miami in Miami, where we've been picking on Miami all season long. So I do like Scott quite a bit at 8K or 8,100 there. So for me in this range, it's really three pitchers that I have interest in and then a couple extras. So I'll rank it for you guys in the chat. I'm going to go Cortez number 1 for me, Kyle Harrison number 2, Scott number 3, and then 4th would be Cole Reagans. The reason I put 4th, Cole Reagans, I do think he comes in as the highest owned pitcher on the slate. I already gave the reasons why I'm a little bit worried about that, but I still don't think it's anything to worry about. I might have a Reagans team. I don't know yet. I'm flipping between Reagans and Cortez on one of my teams. So that's kind of the 4 that I have interest in. Really no interest in any of these other guys up at the top.
Great breakdown. Yeah, Reagans has the highest K prop on the slate at 7.5, minus 120 on the under. Then you have to go to Freddie Peralta at number 2, 6.5, minus 150 on the under. And then you'll get to Nestor Cortez, 5.5, and he is minus 150 on the over. So people that like looking at K props, I was a little surprised to see Reagans 2 strikeouts above, obviously with some juice, like 1.7 or something they're projecting him more for. I like Harrison a lot in this. I mean, man, 58, 60 degrees in San Fran, Pitchers Park against an awful Colorado team. I think he is very interesting at 8.2K, especially because we're going to get to some bats, some teams that we like. I think we share a lot of the same bats and teams we like. If you like paying up, I like paying up at some spots. I don't think you need to go anyone, but like you could start your team with Harrison and go down. I think Harrison Scott is interesting against Miami. I'm not getting to Freddie. I don't know. I'm indifferent about Skubal. He's just such a good real life pitcher. I think he should be in the pool, and there's enough cheap options where you can go like Skubal. There's a 5.5K guy in the opposite game of San Fran, Ryan Feltner, who we'll get to in a little bit. Like you could still go 5-man Dodgers if that's who you want to play, Skubal, and figure it out. So he would be in my pool. I like him more than Freddie. Cortez Reagans, probably the chalk. I prefer, I think, Reagans slightly, but I do agree with you. I think he is probably higher owned than Cortez. I just love that K upside. I love the win equity, which New York should probably put up some runs too. It is hot in KC though, which I don't love. Max Fried, I know Jake talked about him. He would be the one if weather is good to go, and depending on ownership, he'd be the only guy of interest in between Harrison and then Reagans in the upper tier. But mainly, I think it's just Skubal, Cortez, Reagans, Harrison Scott in the upper tier for me as my 5. Before we go to the bottom tier, our man Hoff in here. What's going on, Hoff? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying those NHL playoffs. We'll touch on those Royals, maybe. Warren Tyler, what's going on? Heaney, we'll get to Heaney as well. Metro Boom, hope you're doing well. Lone Wolf, hope you're doing well. I guess here, we'll go 8K and below. I'll throw it to you, Nades, but first just to talk about Fried since he asked Jake again about Fried, and then talk 8K and below pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, I just have no interest in Max Fried. I mean, looking at this matchup, I mean, Fried against this current Padres roster has a sub 15% K rate against this Padres lineup. And the Padres have a ton of power. Obviously, they've been a pretty disappointing offense so far this season. It's just at his price point, I just like the other guys better. I mean, 8,800. If I'm paying up 8,800, I'm going to find $400 to get to Reagan's because the ownership really doesn't matter on this slate. Or I'm going to find the $600 to get up to Cortez. Or I just love Kyle Harrison so much that there's no reason for me to pay $600 more for Max Fried in a much tougher matchup when Kyle Harrison's sub 15% on the slate. I just don't see the need to. So for me, I'm not going to attack an offense that does have potential in Padres in Atlanta, right, where it's going to be, I mean, decent weather, storms coming in, so it's probably going to be decently humid there. Again, I'm not a meteorologist, but I just know how storms work. Usually it gets pretty humid and whatever else. That's the reason for the storms there. So I'm out on Max Fried. I know that was a long-winded answer, but just looking at some metrics, I mean, he's got this Padres lineup's got a 408 slugging percentage against Max Fried, sub 15% strikeout rate for Fried in 69 plate appearances against this Padres team.
Great breakdown. We're going to go 8K and below. I'll go quick, and then I'll throw it to you because it's even easier for me, 8K and below. I got 4 guys, but maybe even 3. Luzardo and Bassett are by far my 2 favorites, 7.4K for Luzardo, 7.2 for Bassett. I mean, man, Luzardo just dating back to last year. Luzardo's always a big K arm, 8K's last game, 6 the game before. I was on, I think, the 15-day IL, pitched the 20th and then pitched the 11th. Got up to 79 pitches in his first start back. So low 90s, high 80s for an arm like Luzardo. I like him at 7.4. I like Bassett against Tampa. Bassett's been solid this year. Outside of one performance, he had 2 middling ones. Man, he's been good. 6 Ks, 5, 8, 4, 4. Limiting the walks, though. He's 7.2K. If you want to pay for the Dodgers, you want to play Bobby Witt, you want to play Judge, Soto, etc., you might need some pitchers down here. Bassett feels like more the safe play than Luzardo. Luzardo a little more upside. I like both of them, though. And then the other 2. I mentioned Ryan Feltner in the beginning. It's just a clear, if you want big boy stack, you want a screwball, something like that. He's pitching in San Fran against a bad Giants team as well. Give me 14, 15, even 12 might be enough at 5.5K. And it just flips a different roster construction. So he'd be in play. Do I love him? No. The last guy, Andrew Heaney. And again, he's in between the Bassett and the Feltners. I mean, I just like picking on this Angels team without Trout, something I'll be looking to do all year. Heaney's been solid this year. Ks have come down a bit. The walks have been better. He should get run support. I feel good about the win. 6.6 Heaney would be my 4th option down here. But that's it. Yeah, Luzardo, Bassett, Feltner, Heaney. Take it away. What do you see?
Yeah, I'm with you there. My favorite pitcher in this lower tier is Luzardo, the Lizard King. I'm just going to pick on this Mets team. I like Luzardo. He should get probably right around 85 to 90 pitches here, through 79, right, I think, in his first start back, and had 8 Ks, right, with just 1 walk. I mean, he's a huge strikeout arm, 7,400 against this Mets team. I'm not really scared of this Mets team, and especially looking at the numbers. I mean, on the road, they've struck out quite a bit against left-handed pitching. Obviously, you got some lefty masters in there, Pete Alonso and stuff, but Luzardo's a smart enough pitcher to, hey, not let 1 or 2 guys beat you and just kind of navigate, put the ball down in the strike zone, maybe get him to roll over, double play, things like that. And then he's obviously got the strikeout upside. So give me Luzardo light years above Bassett for me. I'm just never a Bassett guy. I know Bassett's going to get a ton of ownership here. And I mean, ownership is relative to the slate, right? I think Bassett's probably around 20 to 25% range. And if I'm getting Luzardo for $200 more at half that, if maybe even less ownership than that, I mean, I'm just going to take that all day. So I'm actually out on Bassett. I think he is solid. I do think a lot of people play him. It is a solid matchup here. I do like the Toronto Bats as well a little bit, but looking at the numbers, I mean, Bassett over the last 30 days, I mean, has a 20% strikeout rate, a walk rate in double digits, especially against lefties, and gives up some power, gives up some fly balls against a team that can hit bombs in Tampa. So that's kind of the reason I'm under on Bassett. Bring along the ownership as well, that in relative to the slate, he's going to be one of the chalkiest options. So I'm out on him because I like Andrew Heaney a ton, especially at home. I like the Texas bats a lot. Heaney's been very good, especially at home here. Not afraid of this Angels team. I picked on them all season long. Not gonna stop here. So for me, down here, it's Luzardo number 1. It's Andrew Heaney number 2. And then if I were to punt, it would be with Feltner at 5,500. Kind of same reasoning that I gave in the slate plan for Andrew Heaney. If Heaney gets us 12 to 15, I think that's plenty on the slate at 6,600 because you can build a very nice team with Heaney, with a Luzardo or a Kyle Harrison, something like that combination, and get the big bats and hope the bats win it. That's kind of the approach I'm taking here tonight. So for me, it's just those guys down here. I mean, you could mess around with some of these other guys. There's guys that we didn't even talk about that could definitely be on the winner. It's just the nature of the slate. One other guy I did want to pull out is John Means at 7,900, kind of up at that top tier. I think he gets a little bit of ownership here. I don't mind him. I actually like both sides a little bit there. I mean, Means has looked good. This Seattle offense, I mean, has a ton of strikeouts, but Means just his strikeout stuff has dropped a little bit. So I think people play him. I'm probably more on the camp of the Seattle bats against John Means. It is really good hitting conditions from what I'm seeing as well in Baltimore there. So I did want to mention that because I do think we're probably going to get some questions about that because I'm seeing about probably 10 to 15% ownership on John Means because everyone likes to target this Seattle offense for strikeouts. It's just Means hasn't had the strikeout stuff that I want on the slate, especially at that salary when I like guys cheaper.
Yeah, 11.5K percentage last year for Means. He had the 8 Ks 2 games ago, which I think people will see. 34 DK points. Obviously, you take that. 3 last game. Yeah, you want to pick on strikeouts with Seattle, but I want a heavier strikeout pitcher. And there's just so many options. Like, what about Tyler Anderson against the Rangers? Rangers have been bad against lefties. It's just there's so many other options on this slate. He's 7.8K. I like Luzardo and Bassett a lot less. Like, I'd rather pick on New York. I like Harrison more. I'd rather pick on Colorado, Scott more. I'd rather pick on Miami. Even with the Rangers, like that's still a good lineup that I don't want to pick on. So it's a no for me, but he'll be 1% owned. And yeah, like you mentioned, if you like James Paxton today, or you like Bryce Miller, or you mentioned the Max Fried, you can play those guys. Like, there's just so many options. We don't want to list every single one for you. And I already listed more than I want to on this slate. So yeah, that's pitching. Plenty of options there. I think bats will be, at least for me, it'll be a lot more X's or just mini stacks at best. More bigger pitching pool, more condensed bats is how I see it, and Nate sees it as well. Let's start there. Let's talk some bats. 13 to talk about. 13 games. Ready to lock in, Nades? Again, like button, subscribe button. Helps us a ton. First game of the night, Seattle Mariners. Actually, second game or third game of the day. The Pittsburgh game's going on right now where it's over. The Nats, Phillies start at 6:40 Eastern. First game of the main slate, Mariners, Orioles, Bryce Miller, John Means on the mound. 8.5 total, 70 degrees in Camden Yards. We just talked a little bit about John Means. Any interest in these Mariners? For me, it's no. It'd just be the power righties, like a Garver at catcher if he fits. Probably not even going to get to a Julio Rodriguez at 5'2". There's other spend ups I'd rather. So, yeah, it's probably a Mitch Garver one-off at best. Orioles side against Bryce Miller. Man, it's a good O's team. The lineup you can always play 1 through 9. I think the O's might be a little interesting. There's definitely other teams I like more, but mini stack, or even if you eat chalk pitching, like if you go Reagan's Cortez, I don't think going 5-man O is bad by any means. Eating chalk pairing pitching. O's will be low enough owned. I have some interest. I like this order. I played them a bunch. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, this is one of the games that I actually like both sides of this for tournaments. Neither side's going to get ownership here. And Seattle has some guys that smash here. I get it. There is strikeouts that come. Mitch Garver, I like a lot. Julio Rodriguez, I get is expensive. Dylan Moore actually hits lefties very well. He's super cheap at a shortstop position. I don't mind him. Cal Raleigh, switch hitter at catcher, has smashed lefties, especially over the last 30 days. And Luis Urias there hits lefties pretty good. So there's some bats in here that, you can pick off. I mean, Luis Urias in 13 plate appearances has almost a 500 ISO against left-handed pitching. I get it. There is strikeouts that do come with this lineup, but again, super cheap bats. Urias is 2,800. Garver's 3,100. They should hit close to each other in the lineup. I mean, Haniger, 3,700, good lefty hitter. Dylan Moore, 3,600. So there's cheap bats here to make it work at virtually no ownership here. So I don't mind some of these Mariners. Probably not going to 5-stack. I just don't think it's a slate. I just like other offenses light years above both these offenses here. But in tournaments, I think you can go both sides. And then on the Orioles side, I mean, I think the Orioles are interesting. I mean, Bryce Miller is a good, decent real-life pitcher, but he does struggle with some fly ball concerns. And you got the Baltimore team that I think leads the majors right now in home runs, or at least up there, top 5 definitely in home runs. I mean, looking at his fly ball rate, he's got a 50% fly ball rate to lefties over the last 30 days. Gunnar Henderson, Ryan O'Hearn, Colton Cowser, Stowers cheap down at the bottom there. So, I mean, I do think you can pick off Adley Rutschman, obviously up there too, switch hitter. So the lefties for me for Baltimore, and then the power righties for Seattle. I think you can grab both sides of this game for mini stacks here.
I like it. And Baltimore still leads the MLB at 64 home runs. The Yankees next on the list at 60. Yeah, I'm going to be low owned, preferred as mini stacks, more so the Baltimore side, but you made a lot of great cases, and like Dylan Moore batting leadoff, how can you complain about him at 3.6? Want to touch on that? You always love a nice Cubs dig.
We were talking about our projection on Skeens, and maybe our boys over here have the little crystal ball into the future. I mean, Skeens 10 Ks and a no through 5 at Wrigley. I mean, G-Rise, and I don't know how many Skeens cards you're collecting, but maybe ditch those Torkelson cards and get on the Paul Skeens bandwagon. I saw his like super refractor is like selling for over $20,000 right now or something on eBay, and man, he's been looking great. So that's pretty crazy to see. 10 Ks through 5 there is. I mean, what an arm he's got.
Yeah, let's see 16 Ks and a no right there. We'll keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Chicago White Sox, New York Yankees, Mike Clevenger, Nestor Cortez on the mound. I mean, man, the White Sox have like a 2.6 team total. Like, that's insane. That's literally insane. Cortez, yeah. I mean, if you want leverage, you play the White Sox. It's definitely not the slate to do that, in my opinion. You can get 2%, 3% owned stats with a way better chance than a 1% owned White Sox or whatever. Now, the Yankees against Mike Clevenger in Yankee Stadium, that's something I have interest in. I'll throw it to you on, because I think you will too. I mean, obviously the Judge, the Sotos of the world. Is there any bat that you can't play in the Yankees is my question, or you wouldn't play?
No, I'm 1 through 9. Yankees are my favorite offense by far of the night. I mean, looking at the last 30-day numbers, I get it. Clevenger, I think, was only 1 star, right, through 63 or 64 pitches. Nonetheless, I stack against Clevenger every single day, and now the Yankees. Or 2 starts, sorry. But both starts have looked, I mean, it's blood red. All the opposing metrics against Clevenger, and now you get this Yankees team who, relative to the slate, is going to be very low owned. I mean, I'm seeing sub 5% stack ownership on this Yankees team, and I just don't know how. In Yankee Stadium against Clevenger, 1 through 9 for me. Probably my least 2 favorite bats are probably Torres and Cabrera, just looking at the numbers. But again, they're both cheap. They fill positions that you're going to need when you want the Judges, you want the Sotos. Volpe's been on a tear. He'll steal bases too. Stanton's been crushing the baseball. Verdugo's, 1 through 9. This is my favorite stack on the board. Really, really like Austin Wells down in the 8 spot. I really like the wraparound stack here as well, because you do need to play one of Torres or Cabrera. I'll just be honest. For the most part, just for positional eligibility and the salary savings that they bring. Overall, love this Yankees team. And then I'm not getting to any of these White Sox. I just don't care. I mean, there's 13 games. I'd rather play some A's or something like that against chalk Reagans than deal with a brutal offense here in the White Sox.
Yep, makes a lot of sense. No White Sox. We both like the Yankees. We'll keep it moving. Next game on the slate. The last one I have interest in for a little bit. Rays, Blue Jays, Tyler Alexander, Chris Bassett on the mound. I like some Chris Bassett. I'm not playing the Rays. I know you didn't like Bassett, so maybe you have a different approach. But, man, the Blue Jays. It's always tilting playing them. They have been very disappointing. But you're talking blood red. Pull up Tyler Alexander's numbers. Blood red. This dude is the definition of cheeks. Fly ball pitcher. Yeah, I guess his K stuff isn't the worst, but it still ain't great. Like, he gets pounded against righties. This lineup is going to be almost all righties. But then we go back to it's the freaking Blue Jays, man. And, like, I know you like the Yankees more, but we also have the Braves that we'll talk if the weather's fine. The Rangers on this slate. We have the Dodgers on this slate. Like, you're paying for big bats for the Blue Jays if you want it. Kind of 4.9 for Vlad, 4.7 Turner. Most of them are above 4K. I know you like Yankees more. Where other good spots we'll talk about later. I don't know. I like Toronto. Probably going to burn me. Tyler Alexander's just not good. I like the righties. And ownership will be, again, we keep talking ownership. All of it's going to be relatively spread out. So if you like Blue Jays, play Blue Jays, like we said in the beginning. Happy Jays Day. Uh-oh. I hope not everyone's on the Jays because then it really gets scary. What do you think, Nate?
No, I think the Jays, I actually wrote them up as a low-owned stack. Again, ownership's tough on this slate just because it's going to be spread. So I do have interest in the Jays. They did make the slate plan over here at the Nation, not trying to give everything away, but just want to be transparent for the people here that I'm not just getting on here and saving everything behind the paywall. We do appreciate everyone watching here as well. A lot of you are probably members already anyways. But Alexander is absolutely horrible against righties, and he gets 8 righties here, and the only lefty he faces is Dalton Varsho, who can hit lefties as well. So 1 through 9, really, really like these righties. Danny Jansen, Davis Schneider might be one of my favorite mini stacks on the entire slate. You can play Schneider at second base and Danny Jansen at catcher. You fill 2 positions that historically and overall are pretty weak, that I don't like spending up a ton at those positions. So Danny Jansen kind of in that mid-tier catcher. Davis Schneider fills a weak position. But yeah, overall, I mean, the Blue Jays righties for me, I like all of them. And then on the Tampa side, it's just, I don't love Bassett for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. It's not that I'm going to go and stack against him either here. I just hope he just goes out and just does kind of average, to be honest, for his price. Maybe gets, at 7-2, maybe he gets like 13, 14 DraftKings points and other guys outscore him. So not that I'm going to attack against him. It's just I like the other pitchers more. But Toronto, I do like quite a bit in this spot for offense. But, man, it's scary because I don't think I've ever gotten Toronto right. Every time you play them, they score 1 run. Every time you don't play them, they go off for like 12 and hit 5 home runs. So that's just the nature of the beast. I'm on Toronto here tonight, so maybe everyone in chat, you need to fade them because I can never get them right.
Yeah, I will say I don't think like Josh Lowe has homered in 2 of his last 3 games. Bassett can give it up against lefties, so I think he's a fine one-off. Aranda, again, we don't have a lineup yet, or I haven't seen it. Assuming he makes it again, first base, second base, eligible. Oh, it did just come out. Aranda's in the 4-hole. Lowe's in the 2-hole, like expected. Yeah, pretty much what we expected.
It would only be the lefties.
Yeah, only just the lefties.
Yeah.
Palacios is the other one. I would just go Lowe, Aranda, or Palacios. Do I love any of them? No. One-offs really at best. But yeah, they're gonna be low owned. Lowe's been seeing the ball, homered yesterday, homered 2 games ago. Lefties are nothing, one-offs. Toronto, we like the righties personally. We like the righties. Next game, Twins, Guardians, Simone, Woods, Richardson, Tristan McKenzie, 8 total, 70 degrees. I don't like this game. Like, I'm not – Simone, Woods, Richardson's has been solid enough so far. Not last start against Toronto, but was good against Seattle, good against the White Sox, solid against Detroit, solid against the White Sox again. I don't love playing the Guardians anyway. I don't want to play Richardson on the slate like this, but he's not someone I'm trying to pick against, especially if I do play the Guardians. I want Jose Ramirez. Well, dude's 5.9K. Jimenez, 5.3K. Josh Naylor, 5.4. They're going to be very low owned, but so many other spots I'd rather pay up for, and other bats I like. Twins, I ain't playing these Twins. No chance. X, nothing for me. What about you?
Yeah, no interest here. Ryan Jeffers, just because this guy's, peak Aaron Judge, it seems like right now. He hits a home run every other game or every game. It seems like right now at 4.9, but Don't love him just because I like other catchers that are cheaper. Like I like Danny Jansen better. I really love Austin Wells, some of the Will Smiths, right, when we get to the Dodgers, other guys like that. So no Twins for me, realistically. Did have to mention Jeffers just because he's having a great season so far. And then on the Guardians, really Josh Naylor would be the only one, just power guy, lefty in there. But outside of that, I mean, they're expensive, the guys you want to play, to your point, for the Guardians. So pretty easy cross-off game for bats. 13 games, can't play everyone. That's a game I'm not going to be playing bats from.
I'm going to make it 2 right here. Mets, Marlins, Christian Scott, Jesus Luzardo. It's no hot take, 7.5 total. I think you could game stack this one in terms of pitching. Definitely not game stacking bats. But, yeah, I like Scott. I like Luzardo. I'm hoping we see 20-plus Ks in this one. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, no bats for me in this one. I mean, maybe a Brandon Nemo at 4,200 bat leadoff. Just because
you'd rather Pete Alonso at 4 or 5, right? He went deep yesterday too.
Yeah. I gotta look at. I was looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. But yeah, no bats in this one. I do think it's to your point, right? Pitchers you can stack. I like playing pitchers together. Get Luzardo at 7.4, and you get Scott at 8.1. 2 cheap pitchers there relative to the slate that have a ton of upside, and I hope this is a 1-0 ball game here.
Yes, sir. 1-0 sounds perfect to me. Again, no hot take there. Ownership will be very, very low. We'll keep it rolling. Again, appreciate all 92 of you hanging out live. A lot of you watching on playback. Appreciate you guys as well. Take 2 seconds out of your day. I know it's baseball. Call it basketball timeout. I think they do this nowadays. Like button. Subscribe button helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. And if you want to join us at the Nation, weekly, monthly, 6-month, annual options, give us a try. MLB, NBA, NHL, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR all going on this week. That's a lot of cheese to be made. Next game on the slates. Very interested to hear your take on this one. Padres, Braves, Matt Waldron, Max Fried on the mound. 70 degrees, 8.5 total. Again, this looks like the one weather game maybe. I'm not. Here, let me refresh Rossing if anything's up. Nothing's up yet. I'll just constantly be refreshing. Nades thinks it plays, and he thinks there might be you said precipitation early, so then it gets more humid or something. Anyway, Braves one of the highest team totals on the slate. This Matt Waldron character does not look scary at all, and the Braves have one of the best offenses in the league. We don't have the lineup out yet, I don't think.
Yeah, it's confirmed now. It's confirmed.
It's confirmed now?
Yeah, Acuna, Albies, Ozuna, Olsen, TDA, Harris, Arcia, Kelenic, and Zach Short.
Cool. So, yeah, pretty much what we expected. So, the bottom of the order, Kelenic and Short, 2.9K and 2.3K, which, so you could go a 5-man, obviously 1 through 4 is all above 5K, and then you get the mid 4s and cheap down below. But you could 5-man Braves and go 2 of your favorite pitchers on the slate, even if it is Freddie or something like that. Braves are interesting, man. This Waldron dude's not good, and I like the lineup. I guess how does the Braves stack up against the Blue Jays, against the Yankees, against the Dodgers, the Royals, etc. is the better question.
Yeah, so I like the Yankees more, and I like the Dodgers more than the Braves. I do think the Braves come in decently high owned. Again, it's all ownership. Really doesn't matter on the slate. But for me, the Braves bats that I love are the lefties. Waldron over the last month has been absolutely atrocious, allowing a 422 ISO to left-handed bats and a fly ball rate north of 30%, very low ground ball rate as well, and a hard hit percentage of almost 70%. Now he faces Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Jared Kelenic. Give me all the lefties, and then obviously you can add in the power righties, Ozuna, Acuna's, right, TDAs. So I do like the lefties to start for the Braves and then stack around them. So Braves are one of my favorite 5-man stacks on the slate. I do put the Yankees ahead of them, and I put the Dodgers ahead of them, but I don't think I put the Blue Jays, to be honest, ahead of the Braves. Braves probably slot in number 3 for me here, and the lefties bats is where I'm starting here.
I like it. Yeah, I like the Yankees more. Braves might be 2. It's just a matter of time until they really put up a crooked number, break the slate. And I do Kelenic's got plenty of power. Obviously, we know that as Wisconsin Knights, but he's not your typical 8-hitter. He's a lot of strikeouts, no doubt about that. But, yeah, Short is a full punt. He's got 10, 7, 11, 13 the past couple days. It makes a lot work at third base. 1 through 9. I like the Braves. Next game on the slate, best hitting weather, Oakland A's, Kansas City Royals. It looks like for the A's, they're rolling out it's going to be a bullpen game, hey? I'm seeing like this Mitch Spence character, and then it's going to be let me get this.
Yeah. It's going to be like a modified bullpen game.
Like that guy's is it okay. Kyle Mueller might be the extended guy out of the bullpen. Pretty much, it looks like they'll have an opener in the A's. It'll be more of a bullpen game. 80 degrees in KC.
Yeah.
Kyle Mueller, he's going to be the relief. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, these Royals are outside of Bobby Witt and Salvi are all below 5K. Plenty of cheap bats, 3K, 3.5, 2.9, 2.7. Good hitting weather. If I'm playing the Royals, I'm definitely playing Bobby Witt. I don't like the Royals more than like the Braves. I don't like them more than the Yankees. I don't like them more than the Dodgers. I guess it'd be close with the Blue Jays. So with all that being said, I think Royals mainly would fit in for me more of like when I'm going Skubal, Cortez or something like that, since you still can 5-man them pretty comfortably. I don't know. They're probably like 5-6 on the list, so probably doesn't make it for me.
Yeah, I do like them just because there's power speed. Bobby Witt against a lefty any day of the week. I mean, I'll sign up for him always, but he is expensive. Michael Garcia hits lefty as well. So I like both of those guys. Salvi's having a hell of a year. Velasquez is really cheap. And Renfroe, two guys that are decent against left-handed pitching. So Velasquez, Renfroe, I think, due to their salaries, are pretty interesting for me just because they fit the outfield right, and they're both very affordable, 3K. And I think Renfroe is 2,900, so it's pretty cheap stack over there. I don't mind the Royals. I like the other offenses more. I like the Yankees more. I like the Braves more. I like the Dodgers more. But Royals do crack my top 5 here tonight, just because it's a bad bullpen overall and an opener against the team that is in Kansas City where I like to play them.
So I'll throw it to you right here quick. Do you like Royals or Rangers more? Tyler Anderson, Heaney, 9 total. Yeah, that's really all I got. Rangers and Royals, pretty similar team totals. Pretty similar in terms of pricing, too. The bottom of the order is cheap on both of them. You get the big bats like Semi and Seager. Adolis you got to pay for. Very similar spots. Which one would you prefer? Both at home.
Yeah, I prefer the Royals over the Texas bats here, just because I'd rather pick on the Oakland pitchers versus Anderson, which, I mean, I get it. Anderson's been bad, but, I mean, they're close. Those are probably 4 and 5 for me, or 5 and 6 on the slate. But I still do give KC a nod over Texas.
Anything else? Any favorite bats? Are you playing any Angels against Heaney? I take it not. You like Heaney. Anything else to add in that one, or should we keep it rolling?
Nah, keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling. Brewers, Astros, 8 total. Freddie Peralta, Hunter Brown on the mound. Again, Freddie's not going to get.
Did you loop Texas and LA into this Oakland KC, right? I'll talk on Texas a little bit more.
Yeah, talk on Texas a little more. Yeah.
I think Texas has some salary savers. Zeke Duran, Wenzel. If Davis Wenzel makes the lineup there at third base, just because he's super cheap, I think he's 2,100, something like that. 2,200. Yeah, so he makes a lot of work. Outside of that, I mean, I don't really like stacking this Texas team here tonight. I think I'm going to be a little bit underweight. That's why I put the Royals ahead of them in terms of stacks. Dolis Garcia, obviously, you can play him all the time, but from a value standpoint and kind of a one-off, I did want to bring Zeke Duran and Davis Wenzel just due to their salaries at their positions. They make a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm glad you mentioned that. Couple games. What do we got? 5 games left on this slate. 13, man. It's a haul, especially with a lot of good, viable pitchers. It's tough for bats. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if no team scores over 10, which you do not say very often mid-May on a 13-game slate in the MLB. But there's a lot of viable arms on the mound tonight. Freddie Peralta, Hunter Brown, 8 total for the Brewers and the Astros. Freddie's not getting, you're not getting leverage off of Freddie by playing the Astros, which is rare because most times Freddie's on the slate. He comes with ownership. The bats you'd want to play, Yordan, Tucker, the obvious ones. I'm not paying 6-4 for Tucker against Freddie. I'm not paying 5-7 for Yordan against Freddie. Xing the Astros personally. Brewers are my preferred side if I picked. Yeah, here it is. Richie Small. Stack the Brew Crew and carry on. Music to Nade's ears usually. It's more of a mini stack. Like, man, I think I would be a little surprised if the Brewers were on a 5-man stack was on the winner. But some of these lefties, like a Christian Yelich, a Jake Bowers, Frelick, like I'm good. Turang. My brother loves Turang. Yeah, I don't know. Mini stack at best. I think the Brewers are fine. Hunter Brown was good last starts. Has struggled most of this year. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. You're the Brew Crew guy. I am too, but I've adapted to just cheering for my money and caring less. You don't like them today?
I mean, I think they're fine. I think they're also going to pick up a decent amount of ownership just due to how good they've been. It's the lefties only for me. Bowers, Turang, I think are fine. Yelich, Sal Frelick's been on a tear recently as well. So just the lefties really, but I don't typically like stacking against a ground ball pitcher. Dating back to last season even, I mean, he's still over a 50% ground ball pitcher here. And the only bats this season that are over that in terms of fly balls are Turang, Churio, Bowers, and Adame. So that basically puts me out of 5-stack territory for sure. So maybe one-off or minis. I prefer the lefties, but not a spot that I'm getting to here tonight.
All right, let's go from one ground ball pitcher to 2 ground ball pitchers. Boston Red Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, Brian Bello, Kyle Gibson on the mound. 75 degrees. It's pretty nice in St. Louis. That in the Royals, that in KC. It's the best hitting weather. But I just mentioned it. 2 ground ball pitchers, not ones that we're playing in DFS, but that means you're also not getting leverage on the other side by any means. My preferred side would be Boston against Gibson, and if I play them, I'm definitely playing Rafael Devers, who I think is a very strong play. You just can't, like, how do you play the bottom of the order on this team is the problem. Like, I'll play Duran, Abreu, Connor Wong, O'Neill. Like 1 through 5, I guess I'm good with. I still don't love it as a 5-man. It'd probably be a mini stack up top. I guess I could say the same thing about St. Louis. I don't want to touch the bottom of the order. You can always play Lars, Goldie, Arenado, Gorman. Matt Carpenter's still cheap with multi-position eligibility. Good hitting weather, 2 pitchers, but they keep the ball on the ground. Really just mini stacks, I think, at the top of the order on both sides for me. What about you?
Yeah,
only tonight. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a boost
to Freddie.
Yeah, that's a boost to Freddie, but I still don't like it at 10-4, to be honest. But in terms of this game, Weiler, Abreu, and Devers, I think, is a nice mini stack. 2 lefty powers there against the splits of Kyle Gibson. I do think Devers is one of the best one-offs on the slate. If you want a mini stack, throwing Abreu there, they should hit probably 2 and 4 or 2 and 3 here. Somewhere 3-4, something like that, top of the order there. Outside of that, I'm not getting this game. Can't play everyone. It would just be those 2 Boston bats really for me.
I like it. Let's keep it rolling. Next game, couple games left. We got, hold on. Detroit Tigers, Arizona Diamondbacks, Tyreek Skubal, Ryan Nelson on the mound, 8 total. I mean, I'm definitely not playing the D-backs against Skubal. The Tigers, though, I was going to say they're cheap. The bottom of the order is always cheap. Riley Green and Canna now above 5K. I see you going like this and Ryan Nelson's cheeks. Yeah, sign me up. I like some of these Tigers.
Give me this spot, baby. Tigers fall into that category of the Blue Jays for low-owned stacks for me on the slate, but the Tigers are cheaper. I mean, Nelson is just absolutely horrendous. 12% strikeout rate over the last 30 days to both sides of the plate. ISO north of 250. And, I mean, he's still sub 50% ground ball rate. He does limit fly balls, but give me Riley Green, give me Canna, give me Perez, give me Kerry Carpenter, give me Colt Keith at a very, very nice price point at a weak position at second base. Like him, McKinstry. Give me some of these lefties overall. I mean, I just think Nelson's cheeks. Tigers aren't a sexy offense, but they do have some really cheap bats, especially Colt Keith. In there, and then the other guys like Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green. So I do like these Tigers. I'm not 5-man stacking the Tigers on a 13-game slate, I'll tell you that. But from a mini standpoint and one-off, especially at some weak positions, I do like these guys a decent amount here.
Bro, I'm saying the same thing, Warren Tyler. I have not played the Tigers much at all this year. They've been on like showdown games and stuff. I was like 5,500. I'm like, wow, he must be on fire. 0, 0, 5, 2, 9, 5, 0, 5. what is going on, DraftKings? That dude is.
I mean, he was on a tear. He was on a
3.5K.
tear. He was on a tear. I mean, especially against right-handed pitching. He's got a 491 ISO on the road this season against right-handed pitching and just a 22% strikeout rate. So he was on a tear earlier.
His price came up 300 from 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm not paying
like 95 zeros.
on a 13-game slate. I mean, Riley Green definitely has the power to do it, but I'm not paying 5,500 at an outfield position with for Riley Green. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Again, like if you're playing the Tigers, definitely Riley Green's in play. It's baseball. One home run, which he definitely can do. He pays off the salary. So like overspend. I'm not chirping that. I just Pete Alonso's 4.5 and Riley Green's 5.5. That stuff just really doesn't make much sense here. But hey, maybe DK's got the crystal ball. We keep talking about it. Riley Green double dongs right here. Appreciate that, Trevor Bryan. Appreciate that. King of Smack, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. 2 games left. Actually, you know what? Let's go real quick game, and then we'll touch it. Rockies, Giants, Feltner, Kyle Harrison, 60 degrees, 7 total, nothing.
No bats. I mean, I like both pitcher. I like Kyle Harrison a ton. Feltner, I think, is viable for a punt against a pretty weak offense in a very good pitcher's park. So there's no reason to play bats in this one. I like both the pitchers. Definitely love Kyle Harrison. So definitely no Rockies for me.
Last game of the slate. And again, before we go, like button, subscribe button. Takes 2 seconds out of your day. Gets you good mojo heading into the night. We really do appreciate it. NBA Game 6 today, do or die. Big boy prize pool, slate plan for showdown plan from our man Rio. Definitely check that out. Nate has slate plan up for MLB, core reports, cash reports, slate plan. As always, PGA showdown as well. MMA this weekend, NASCAR this weekend. Head over to the Nation, $24 a week. You just want the content on the site. You want to get in the Discord, a part of the community, monthly, 6-month, and annual packages. Head over to SHIPIT.com. Check it out. Last game, Nate, Cincinnati Reds, Los Angeles Dodgers, Frankie Montas, James Paxton on the mound. 8.5 total. It's chilly in LA, though. As usual, the West Coast games are colder, only 60 degrees. But Frankie Montas isn't good, and the Dodgers are good. So what wins out?
Yeah, I do. Before I break this down, Mariah in the chat did want to say, hey, I appreciate that comment, but I wouldn't base us off a one-night sample here. I do suggest head over to the Nation and try out a weekly package. Give us 7 days. Check out our stuff. I think it's what, $24 or $19?
24.
Yeah, $24 for a week. You get access to the rest of the Players Championship Showdown, round 2, round 3, round 4, which we absolutely print over here in PGA Showdown. Customized projections based on the actual tournament going on that differ from the main projections that we have, and a full week of MLB content along with the NBA playoffs and projections for all the sports possible. So did want to mention that. We do appreciate that. Hopefully these takes help you win here tonight, but definitely give us a 7-day chance. And
I will say, we don't want you to just tail the takes Nades and I have, like Yankees. Just go all in on the Yankees and play them. We can't see the future. Like, we are doing our best. We put in the research. We look at numbers and all of that. It's bankroll management, diversification. If you're playing 8 teams, don't go all in on one team. And look at our stack rankings, our pitcher rankings. Just look at all the other tools and the Discord community, people talk, etc. So yeah, good luck tonight. I hope you win, but don't just have our one sample. Whether we get it all right or all wrong it's a little skewed on one sample. Take it away. Last game though.
Yeah, this. I think.
Thanks, Maria. That's nice of you.
I saw that. But anyways, in regards to this game, Dodgers probably my second favorite offense of the night. I really like. I'm just going to keep it simple, stupid here tonight and play the Dodgers, play the Yankees, and take my chances because, Montas' cheeks here. I don't think the Dodgers hitters, I don't think Ohtani, Freeman, Smith, Betts, Muncy care what the freaking temperature is outside. They got a job. Their job is to go up there and hit the baseball, steal some bases, and that's what they're going to do here. Ohtani's my favorite hitter on the entire slate. Absolutely love him. Love Freeman. Love Betts. Love Muncy. If Gavin Lux is in there, he's a cheap guy. James Outman's got a very nice price point at an outfield position. Really like that kind of wraparound stack with a James Outman and a Betts Ohtani type thing. Save a little bit of salary there versus 5-man stack in the Dodgers. So overall, 1 through 9 firmly in play. My least favorite bats in this lineup are probably Gavin Lux, just due to the, pinch hit concerns. If a righty comes in out of that pen, or a lefty comes in out of that pen, Lux is definitely getting pulled out of that game. So for that reasoning, I'm a little bit lower on him and the pages. But outside of that, I mean, 1 through 9, Dodgers love. Friday Night Dodgers. I know it's a coincidence. I say it all the time, but hey, just look back at their run totals on Friday nights. And I mean, Hoop will tell you he's won a lot of money on the Dodgers, won a ton of money on the Dodgers on Friday night, especially in a spot like this tonight where, I mean, I'm seeing sub 5% stack ownership on one of the best offenses in baseball and a late night hammer. So against a pretty bad pitcher. So sign me up for the Dodgers. On the other side, no real interest in the Reds against Paxton. I just think Paxton's a decent enough real life pitcher that I just don't have any interest in attacking a Reds team outside of the Great American Small Park.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, there's plenty of good cheap pitching where like you can play bets at 6'2", Shohei 6'6", 5'7", 5'2", 5'1", 5'3". You can play 5 of them and then find 2 solid pitchers because of the pricing and make it work too, which does make the Dodgers appealing on a slate like this. And every time you talk Friday Night Dodgers, I always think of Hoop, who definitely has won plenty of cheese in his life with the Dodgers on Friday nights. Nate's final thoughts for the people. Great work as always.
Final thoughts for the people. I mean, I'll give the people a little double home run take here. They're both in my core report. Give you a little foreshadow here. I'm feeling generous on this Friday afternoon. I'm about to head out of here and drive down to the Dells for a nice softball tournament this weekend. So I'm going a little 2-pack combo here. Austin Wells and Ohtani both hit a home run. I think Ohtani hits 2 home runs here tonight. So a little 3 home runs, hopefully, maybe more out of those 2 guys there. But overall, just go in with who you like tonight. Ownership is probably the most spread out we've seen all season long so far. And from a bats perspective, there's really good spots that I like a ton that ownership just doesn't seem to be going to. I'm not sure if that's just bad ownership read right now on the slate or what, but I'm going in with the bats I like, spreading out a little bit more at the pitcher position, and overall it should be a fun slate here tonight.
My dong of the weekend is Big Nades at a softball tournament in the Dells. Good luck, Nades. Have fun. He can count on that. He says that's a lock of all locks. Minus 500, Nades goes deep this weekend. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, Nades. Have some fun up there in the Dells. Let's make some cheese this weekend. So many sports to do it. We'll do our best. Tools, projections, ownership, community at SHIPITNation.com to help you get in the winner's circle. You get a little added boost, just a little teeny bit when you have that SHIPIT Nation logo on there as well, which you can find in the Discord. Let's make some money this weekend. Be safe out there. For Nades, I'm Titletown. Peace.